she's moving down here, and I left on Saturday. I was there up there at like 10:30 Saturday morning, and was planning on leaving yesterday, and I didn't get home till about an hour ago.
I gotcha.
All right, next Sunday.
Looks like we're live and rocking and rolling, I think, right?
We could be. I guess we don't get an introduction tonight.
So, hey, Ryan, how are you doing? Can you hear us, buddy?
No.
Hey,
everybody. Welcome to Let's Grow Pulling. Monday night, October
23rd.
23rd. I prepared well for this. Jason is being a father tonight, so we have our guests are Ryan Merritt from Diesels and Dark Corners, White Plains, Georgia, and Brian Massetti from the Golden State Invitational, Madeira, California. And then we'll touch on what happened over the weekend. As most have seen the video, I think, of the mishap at Lufkin over the weekend. Scary. Nobody got hurt as usual, but we'll talk about that a little bit.
I've only ever seen that happen 2 other times. One of them I was too young to remember, but I've got a video of it. And the other one would be the man typically in charge about 2 years ago when Wisner, his tractor didn't make it out of the situation quite as well as the other 2 that I saw. So
by the looks of the exhaust stack, I don't think this one made it out in very good piece either.
Well, it ran away for a long time.
Right.
That was it took them it was a while before the guillotine dropped or before whatever it got choked out. So
it was very warm. That had a
my
candle
heart was
on
pounding
it the whole time.
I hate to say that's one of those things you see it and your heart just sinks. Macon, Missouri, 1992, 93, somewhere in there. We've got a recording of Steve and Stan Blagrave had a runaway at the end of the track, and they went out of bounds with it, and smoke just starts rolling, and they couldn't get it shut down, and I think the sled operator just pulled the kill, and the black smoke turned back to white, and I think they actually saved the motor in that one. And then, of course, there's the detonation video of the last run of the Remedy. There's Ryan. Hey, Ryan,
hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, now I can hear y'all.
All right.
Little technical difficulties.
Get that Starlink fired up.
Yeah, that's right. It was trying to connect to my AirPods.
Yeah.
How are y'all tonight?
Good.
We're excellent. So you are Ryan Merritt from the Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull, promoting Diesels and Dark Corners coming up on, November 3rd and 4th. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That sounds awesome. So how's everything down in Georgia right now?
It's good. It's been dry, so hopefully it'll stay dry. We won't have a rain come on Saturday, so we're all praying for that. Good weather. So
excellent.
Warm?
Diesels and Dark Corners. I was pulling up on your website. You guys have an excellent website there at the Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull. Of course, you've got all sorts of promotions all over Facebook as well. But the website has this listed as Diesels and Dark Corners 13.
13, yep.
Diesels and Dark Corner 13. So is that 13 years strong this event's been going on?
It is. This one has been going on for 13 years.
And even beat COVID, correct?
Yeah. We even beat COVID. We didn't stop.
One of them.
Yep. We didn't see any slack in any attendance or anything, so that was impressive.
So Diesels and Dark Corners, that's got to be one of the coolest names. Everyone's got their big name, National Tractor Pulling Championships or, the Lions Super Pull of the South or whatnot. Diesels and Dark Corners, is there a story behind that? I mean, that's got to be about the coolest name for a pull that you can even dream up.
Yeah. As Doug knows, that part of the county is out in the middle of nowhere. Back when my dad and all the ones that were growing up, they called that part of the community Dark Corners because when you get back there at night, there's no street lights, there's no lights at all. It's pitch black dark.
There's no internet. There's no cell phone service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're the last part of the civilization before you get into another county. So it's we're right on the county line. It's out there in the middle of the boonies, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
If you got to go to town, you 15 minutes away. Convenience stores, anything. So most people, when they come, they need to come prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta stay out, buddy. So that makes sense, man. So we're going to be running, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 6 classes you got lined up this year?
Yep.
And this looks like this is a lot of my buddies talk about going to, here in Northeast Missouri, a big thing is like pro street trucks that pull. So a lot of my friends talk about going to truck pulls. And I always grew up, of course, no, it's not a truck pull, it's a tractor pull. But looking down your lineup, I mean, this is about as true as you get to a truck pull. 5 of your 6 classes are going to be trucks, 2 6 diesels. The limited pro diesels are what I think that's what we call 3.0 diesels around here.
Yep.
The pro stock, the super stock diesel trucks, and then the 4.1 semis, along with some pro farm diesel tractors. How many hooks are you anticipating?
We a little over 100. I think we had about 110 signed up last year.
That's excellent.
So, yeah, we've got a good many hooks, and there's quite possibly could be more. 2, 6, and 3.0 is our, I guess, our bread and butter.
Yeah.
I'd say we'll have over we anticipate over 30 trucks.
Yeah.
So.
The 3.0 class, the limited pro diesel truck class, has got to be one of the most popular, entertaining, and hard running classes, both from a fan's and a driver's perspective. I would say that's getting to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those out there, and they are all hard running, entertaining trucks. The 2 6s and the 3.0s, talk to the crowd a little bit about those. The 2 6s are not going to run duals, but the 3.0s are, correct?
Yeah, correct.
But they are DOT tires, which is kind of fun for pulling. No bar treads in those classes, right?
Yep, that's correct. 2 6 is it can't run any air to water. So, and your 3.0s run your air to water ice. And with it, so
intercoolers.
Yep, intercoolers.
And then as you kind of just go down the list, you kind of just jump classes as you want to look at it. So then you get into your pro stock diesel trucks. They're going to run bar tread tires, kind of looking at more traditional pulling, if you want to talk about it that way, but just a single turbo on those with a 3.6 turbo, I believe. And then the super stock diesel trucks, that's, of course, what you see at the Grand National level and your Champions Tour, running 2-stage turbochargers, multiple turbos on them.
Or really big turbos.
Yep. And we've had some, we allow, the 3.6 trucks can jump up to the super stocks. And we've had Brady Ingram both on a big single, and he won last year, the super stock class.
I want to say there's a puller from kind of my neck of the woods in Northeast Missouri that's been known to do that, or they might have even jumped class one to another. I think the Penn Farms, maybe I think his name might be Matt Penn or something like that, has been known to do that with those trucks as well.
Yeah.
So
Keith Witt does that too.
Yeah.
Does he? So
Keith's supposed to have 2 of his trucks down this year, so it'll be interesting.
I haven't heard it from the horse's mouth, but I think the killer's coming again. They got it back together from.
Good. Yeah, that's what we heard they were wanting to, but I didn't know what happened, if they were going to be able to get it back together.
I think they put a different motor back in it.
Yeah, they ran real good on Saturday last year.
That truck, they've found all the weak components in that once they switched to mechanical injection.
Yeah, it's a hard runner now, Cummins Killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching your 2022 super stock diesel trucks on YouTube earlier this afternoon, and I mean that was definitely a who's who. The show that you had down there last year with the Rock Hard Ram and the Cummins Killer, several of the top-notch runners down there for sure. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of those guys again. We love this late season pulling. I mean, for fans, when you can find something to tune into like this is awesome. Now, down in Georgia and even kind of out there east, a lot of locals that are going to show up to that as well, I'm assuming. I mean, are there people who are the big hard runners down there that maybe a Midwestern fan who might be following this on beermoneypulling.tv might need to know about before we tune in?
Yeah. Well, the only classes that are pretty popular that we have is 2.6, and then we got a Pro Farm tractor class. So your 2.6 class, it's I guess one of the trucks that I'm part of. My cousin drives it mainly. It's the Down South diesel truck. He won last year at Shides and qualified first on Saturday, but had turbo trouble. So it's a pretty strong competitor. Okay. Mr. Robert Young with Booyah, he's right behind that truck too. There's another common rail truck, J.W. Oliver, with the Duke. He won 2 years ago at Shide, so he can win anytime too with all those trucks from up north and out in the Midwest. When we go to Shide, all three of those trucks get in that pack. So it'll be interesting.
I was going to say the Wisconsin boys are planning on coming down and
a whole pack. Half of Wisconsin's coming. They're very loyal pullers for us. So
when you have a good event like you do, it's easy to get people to come back once they get there.
Yeah, 16 to 19 hours for Wisconsin drive. Those
guys are 3 hours north of us yet.
Yeah.
So they're where I came from.
It's gonna be good who's who in the 2.6 class to see who all of them that are gonna show up for. So some dark corners.
These names that you're mentioning, is there an organization down there that they typically pull with? Or I kind of saw the Liberty Truck and Tractor pull. It's like a track sled organization, more or less all in one, that has 5 or 6 pulls throughout the year.
Yeah. So we do.
These guys all just pull right there, or do we travel around northern Georgia, or what does that kind of look like?
There's only one organization. There's a pro pulling Southern Pro Pulling League. It's called Southern Pullers with the PPL, and it's about 3 hours south. They have probably 10 pulls, and we go down there and compete for the points, regional points championship down there. Ours, we do a little points championship with our organization with 2.6 also. So we'll venture out during the regular season to Carolinas, South Carolina, and North Carolina. But normally that group will go up the Shides and pull up there. So kind of stay around there.
You mentioned you guys have a small points championship at the end of the year, when you've tallied your points. Yeah. Is that just from the pulls there at the Liberty Truck and Tractor pull there in White Plains?
Yeah, our 6 pulls, we do it. And then Southern Pullers does one separate from us over in there. So with the PPL regional.
Is Diesels and Dark Corners the final points hook of the year for you guys, or is this after your points have concluded?
This is after our points and concluded.
Okay. So this is a big standalone promotional event where you open up your doors and you kind of challenge the best, from the rest of the world to say, hey, here's what we do. Here's what our track looks like. Come on down and play in the clay with us, right?
Yep, it is. And awesome. It's kind of to help promote.
Puts a new meaning to red dirt.
Yeah. Help promote pulling in the South. Try to grow it a little better because it's not as popular as it is up north and out west. So this event kind of lets the fans see some of those trucks and stuff that they would never get to see unless they travel 10 plus hours. So
well, I would venture to say that you're definitely being really successful with that goal. I kind of pride myself on being just a fan, and I really like to follow, big time pulling, grand national level of all three organizations, if you want to call it that. But diesels and dark corners, that's one of those things that you hear and you automatically say, oh yeah, that's a big one. That's one worth going to. That's one worth looking into. So you've done a great job at just establishing this draw and putting it at the date that you have it too. Here in the Midwest, things start turning a little chilly and we kind of put it in the barn and go harvest or whatever. But, being able to have a pull in November, that kind of gives you the run of the market. And a lot of guys might want to get stuff back out and fans want to watch it. So, diesels and dark corners, I definitely think is something that people are starting to look at. They've heard of. So I think
it's getting to be a destination pull. You don't have to say Georgia. Everybody knows where diesels and dark corners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
It feels good when we kind of got a name for ourselves like that.
So to hit it again, you're pulling at Friday night at 6:00, Friday, November 3rd, and then Saturday night, we're going to bump it up to 5:00, November 4th. And then you've got a show and shine kind of mixed in there somewhere as well.
Yep. Going on Saturday. They'll be going up through the day. And then they'll pick the winners, and right before we start pulling, we'll parade the winners down the track. So for the show and shine, every class of those. So
that's cool. I like that a lot. That's an excellent thing to do as well.
And the best part, if you can't make it, it'll be live stream on beermoneypulling.tv.
I hear those guys do a heck of a job, Doug.
We try.
Yes. Finally getting a niche, because we've been asked about live streaming for years and years and years, and it's hopefully it goes all good, because internet has been a problem with it down there. I never could figure it out, so Doug and them they got it figured out, and
they got Lufkin, Texas out over the weekend, and that was an internet hell, so I think we'll be okay.
Good.
We've got 2 Starlink units if we need them, so
that's right.
So talking about live stream always makes me think of, the in-person attendance and atmosphere. And one thing I've heard a lot of down there is the atmosphere is absolutely excellent. Have you seen the fans for diesels and dark corners specifically, or just for Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull for your pulls? Has your fan base kind of expanded each year, from year 1 to year 13 with this? Is it just growing and growing and growing every year?
Yes, it has. It grows every year. And the biggest thing I've noticed, Friday's always been something. When we started probably 4 or 5 years ago, I can't remember, we started a 2-day event for diesel and dark corners. And Friday was, it was pretty much, the first one was just pullers. And now I think last Friday we took in 1,500 people for Friday.
Oh, wow.
So
excellent.
Then,
so that's
the locals, they stack couches in the back of trucks and line them up, and it's pretty cool. And then you've got the one and only Will, the announcer. Pick 'em up trucks,
dude. Yeah. if I had I was listening to him. That was gonna be my Doug. That's perfect. That's gonna be the next thing I was gonna talk about. I was listening to this gentleman announce.
There he is, right there.
Pulled up on YouTube,
William
and that guy is fired up. I mean, he is. When you think of, if you have to picture in my mind what a Southern announcer sounds like, he hits that bell on the head and he comes with a ton of energy, doesn't he? He has a good time.
Awesome.
It sounds like.
He doesn't like red paint though. He is a John Deere guy through and through.
Yeah.
John Deere's and Fords.
John Deere.
What a weird combination.
So if you're calling a pro, I imagine there's a lot of red tractors in that Pro Farm tractor class, and then of course anything that's not a Cummins, is kind of an outside shot with all the diesel trucks. So if you're green and Ford, you might have trouble on your fullpull.us picks with that.
Yeah, well he does like Fords with Cummins in them. That's his favorite.
Well, yeah, they're Cummins swap. You can always
He's a cross dresser now.
I hear they bolt right in.
Yeah. No, William, he's a hoot. He's I've known him since college days. Me and him were roommates, and he kind of introduced him into pulling, brought him on, and then when our regular announcer, which is his father-in-law, retired, he took the reins, and he's worldwide, I guess, known now.
He's a good dude.
He was fun. I enjoyed just listening to him and just the amount of enthusiasm and that he brought to it. That in itself always can make a big part of a show. So to hit it again, Friday night at 6 o'clock, Saturday night at 5 o'clock, Diesels and Dark Corners in White Plains. I'm saying that right? Right. White Plains, Georgia.
White Plains,
yep. Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull. The website is actually Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull. What I really like about your guys' excellent website, like it's going to actually break down everything from not only your whole schedule for the year, but Diesels and Dark Corners. And then you've got it right there for everyone. It's going to show the payout and everything, I believe, if that's up to date for your Diesels and Dark Corners. So you cast big lures, you catch big fish.
Yep. it helps. You put a little padding in their pocket to pay for some fuel. So
yep.
I think that semi classes every year that you've done it, it's gotten bigger. And
yeah, I
know a couple of the outlaw guys, if they've got their field work done, they're planning on wandering down as well. So
yeah, I've had a couple of calls from Missouri and Wisconsin. So hopefully they'll come on over. Semi class is a crowd favorite. That dirt in that semis, it's impressive the way they run.
Yeah, you mentioned Missouri. Northwest Missouri's kind of developed a small little cult following for like the Pro Stock or the Hot Street, whatever you want to call it, the semis.
Yeah,
I've noticed there's a lot of those up there around Northwest Missouri that are starting to pop up left and right. So we definitely love to see some of those guys come down and play in the clay, so to speak. So that'd be a ton of fun. I was looking at the distances that some of your guys were pulling from last year, and we were letting them get out and run. I think that's what the fans like to see. I think that's, the drivers like to be brought to a gentle stop. But I was seeing distances 380, 370, 383 with track to spare. So it looks like you guys have a lot of room to play down there.
Probably 500 feet, isn't there?
Yeah, it's 500 foot. So we got plenty of runoff.
And if you miss that, you go in the pond.
Yeah, the lake. We got Lake Oconee back there. Yeah, a couple miles. So we got plenty of runoff room for them.
But it's still a single track.
Yeah, it is.
Single track.
Yeah.
Now, anyone who's talked to me knows I actually advocate for single tracks. I think a single track, when done correctly, can run a more personal and entertaining show than a double track done poorly. That can create an awesome atmosphere when you've got someone doing it right, like I'm sure you guys do.
There's a 4-1 truck right there, I believe. I think he's from up around Green Bay.
Okay, good.
And you have the guys from Michigan coming in with their belly scraper tractors this year?
They're Ohio. It's Jeff Burton and Ted Ferguson. So they're coming in and going to maintain the track for us and keep things flowing smoothly. They do a very good job. Those tractors, the scrape tractor with the Packer right behind it is impressive. Right. So we kind of reached out to them, and they were very, very receiving on wanting to come. So, which his brother Mike Burden runs a 3.0 truck, limited pro truck, and they've been down for several years, and it's kind of how we got them. We got to know Mike and Jeff, and got in with them. So they're going to bring that down. That's going to help our show and help the flow of things.
Those things are awesome.
Yeah. One of them's an 806 with a Cummins. He swapped in a Cummins. So that's pretty neat.
So come showtime, you said your cousin's got a 2.6 truck. come showtime on Friday and Saturday, where will we see you at? Are you going to be putting on a fire suit and getting in a vehicle, or are you going to be? Where will we find Ryan come Friday and Saturday night at Diesels and Dark Corners?
Running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Directing traffic usually.
Yeah, I'm everywhere. Just wherever I need to fill in at, or wherever I might be driving. It's one of the trucks there, and whoever's available. Because Hank does my cousin, the other one that owns that 2.6 truck. He does the lineup, and he's one of the owners of the track also. So it's whoever is available and has time to drive the truck.
Yeah,
it might be somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah. So what is your official title when it comes to the Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull and Diesels and Dark Corners?
I am the president of Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull.
Excellent.
I'm one of 3 owners of Liberty Truck and Tractor Pull. It's Hank Carlton, which is my cousin, and then Dennis Hardegree, which is my cousin-in-law. He married into the family. Mm-hmm. So he self-proclaims himself as the mayor of Liberty, the community.
That's right. But he's not afraid to say it either.
No, he's not. He's not.
So Liberty is the neighborhood, the area outside of White Plains.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
So how long have you 3 been doing this together?
Together we've been doing this. We took over ownership from my dad and my uncles in 2019.
Okay.
Been doing it. We had a year up under our belt, and then COVID hit, and it scared the crap out of us. We thought we might be going under, but we kept plowing through with COVID, and it was, one of our best years before all that. So we were very fortunate and lucky.
Well, it seems like you guys have obviously grown the pull and are getting that interest out in the South and the East, and like I said, you're opening the doors and you're challenging the best of the best and saying, come down and play with us. And I think that's absolutely awesome. I've kind of been, Doug, I guess I should have looked at some of the comments here. I'm not very good at looking at the comments. One gentleman asked
a couple questions have come up, excuse me, about any class orders.
Yeah, that's what I was
determined.
We hadn't set that yet. We'll probably try to do it on Wednesday or Thursday. We'll do it a couple of days ahead of time. We hadn't set it. It's not in stone yet. So I guess we'll put that out all over and on our website and the Diesel and Dark Corners Facebook group. So keep an eye on that.
Does your website also have any did we lose him? Oh, there you are. Does your website do any live results? Like, if someone can't watch it on Beer Money Pulling, but they want to see who's leading and winning?
We try to do it through XFuel. We've been doing that for the past 4 years. So as long as our internet stays good and stable, we're able to do the live results through there. So our scorekeepers are familiar with that because we use it during our regular season. So they look for us on the XFuel app or website.
Okay, perfect. So lots of ways to stay in touch with the Diesels and Dark Corners. Diesels and Dark Corners number 13 coming up November 3rd and 4th, Friday and Saturday. Friday at 6 o'clock, Saturday at 5 o'clock. So Ryan, if you kind of just had to give it the spiel, give it your personal promotion, tell everybody out there on the internet and on Let's Grow Pulling, what all do we need to know? Just tell us about Diesels and Dark Corners, kind of in your abridged, shoot from the hip style.
Oh, okay. Diesels and Dark Corners, November 3rd and 4th. Friday, gates open at 3 p.m. We start pulling at 6. Admission's $20. both days. Kids 10 and under are free. Military with military ID, it's $10. We prefer cash. We will take debit and credit cards. Charge $1 fee per admission price. We do have camping spots. It's $100 on the premise, and it's first come, first serve on the camping spots. If we got anywhere from trucks from 1,200 horsepower all the way up to 3,000 horsepower, and then we got Proform tractors, and then we got the ever popular 4-1 semis pulling both nights. So it's gonna be a great night both times. So make sure if you don't come Friday, you come Saturday. Or we would like for you to come both days because something new happens every time.
Wait till Saturday, you might miss something.
Yeah. Saturday, we gates open at 10 a.m. The show and shine runs through the afternoon, and we start pulling at 5 o'clock on Saturday, and it's $20 admission on Saturday. Same kids 10 and under free, and $10 military discount. Preview of the shirt yet. I got the shirt proof in. I'm waiting on a price because I'm sure if I put out the shirt proof, I have a lot of questions with how much is it going to cost. I'm making sure that it's not going to cost us any more. I'm waiting on that, and we should have that probably in a couple of days. We'll put the proof out and have the shirts. So that's popular too. So event shirts. So make sure you get them if you're there Friday. We try to have enough. We have some Saturday too, but they get pretty low on Friday. Everybody buys them. So.
No. Well, guys, I know from a fan's perspective, this is one of those. I think Doug said it perfectly. It's turning into a destination pull. This is something that you hear about a lot. Diesels and dark corners. That's not just some obscure phrase. Like, that is a pull that people are marking on their calendars. Ryan's been kind enough to come on with us, tell us everything that we need to know about it. Doug, did I miss anything? Do we need Ryan to give us a rundown anymore?
We've done well. It's a great time. I mean, if you're even close, make the trip. If you can't make the trip, watch it on the live stream because it's top notch.
We appreciate Doug and Jason and all the Beer Money crew helping us out, promoting it, and taking us to the next level throughout the years. They help us grow every year. We're not going backwards by no means.
Right.
So
right.
They're definitely helping us out. And if you need any promotions done from any of the Beer Money crew, definitely seek them out because we're definitely a testament to what they've done to us. I mean, Doug showed me, stats. I'm not a stat man, but it's hard for me to keep up numbers. But Doug showed me a graph, what our website's done since they've taken over. So definitely they're a testament to
hundreds of % increase.
Yeah. See if I can figure out which way it goes up and off the screen.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Diesels and Dark Corners, November 3rd and 4th, Friday at 6 o'clock, Saturday at 5 o'clock. Ryan Merritt's been telling us all about it. I'm pumped up. I'm gonna be live streaming unless I stick my thumb out and someone picks me up and takes me to Georgia.
Well, I'm sure there's room in somewhere. One of these vehicles.
There's these big things that fly. You can get on an airplane too and just come.
Yeah, it's only 12 hours. I think I'll just drive. Those things are scary. Oh.
Well, thank you, Ryan. We will see you, I suppose, Thursday.
Yeah,
that's when we're planning on getting there. So,
looking forward to it.
Ryan, best of luck with all your events. Diesels and Dark Corner is going to be awesome, and thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Well, thank you. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yep.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Thanks. There's the man.
Hey guys.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Michael. How are you?
I'm just fine. So we're speaking with Brian Massetti from MLM Motorsports, who's going to be talking to us about I noticed I watched your interview last year and Jason kept saying the Golden State Invitational. So we'll steal that a little bit. He didn't trademark it or anything. We've not met before. My name is Mike Idle. I'm just a diehard fan, and I kind of hang out with the Beer Money guys from time to time. Jason's got some prior engagements tonight.
Right.
So Doug and I are going to chit chat with you about the Golden State Invitational, which is an invitation only pull for MLM Motorsports. Am I correct?
You are correct.
And I was pulling up your website, and you guys also have an awesome website, and it looks like it's listing the specific classes that you guys are going to have on there. So you can check that out on the website. Tell us, kind of my big question is, how do you get one of those invitations? Tell us about some of the classes you guys pull at MLM and how you qualify for Golden State Invitational.
So the way we do the invitations is we look at our year and we look at who's been supporting us, excuse me, from the different classes. And just by coming to our events doesn't guarantee you an invitation, but it does help. The more events that a guy comes to, the better chance that he'll have to get invited. We don't run all of the classes at the invitational that we run during our normal season. We run a lot of stock and street modified, and then a stock diesel class. So we kind of start about the middle of the pack and go up with the classes from there. We'll run. We have 3 modified tractor classes. We have an 8,000 pound class out here, and then we're going to run the 7,400 pound mod class, like the Outlaws run, and then also the 6,000 pound mod, which is basically single engine class out here. We'll run our pro modified 4-wheel drives. We will run the pro stock, limited pro stock diesel pickups, work stock diesel. We run a 6,000 pound super stock 4-wheel drive, which is basically a DOT tire class. We've got 2 hot farm classes, a 12,000 and an 8,500 pound. And I think that's all the classes. No, we're also added country modifieds, which is kind of in between that super stock and a pro modified, with a cut tire, lighter weight, and a smaller cubic inch.
They're about what, 4,500 pounds or so?
They're 55.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're not that far off from the pro mods at 6,200, but I'd have to look, but I think they're limited to like 470-ish cubic inches, smaller tire, shorter weight bar, but a good class.
Sure. So I was kind of trying to do a little research on here. It looks like you guys primarily pull throughout the season California, but you dip over into Nevada a little bit. Is that right?
Yes, you're right.
How many pulls will you guys typically have in a year?
We put on 12 that we're putting on, but with our sled, I think this year we went to 35. So there's a decent number out here. There's a couple other promoters that put on events that we do work for. So there's a good bit of pulling. Our season typically starts in February with the World Ag Expo in Tulare. There's usually a pull that week put on by Max Cackle. So that's early to mid-February. And then we're going through November 11th. So it's kind of a long stretch of a season.
Yeah.
You guys don't pull like real heavy in June and July, correct?
I saw that. Yeah.
We don't put on events. We do one in June, but there's several like July. The Turlock Fair is there. It's not like what you guys are used to, where you guys kind of go like June to September typically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so and do a lot more than we do all year in that time frame. Yeah. And during the week, but so ours is stretched out, over most of the year. We're pretty lucky with weather. We did get a rain out in March this year. and then 2 of ours over the summer. We had rain during the day. We were able to get the shows off. So, so that's kind of the gist of what we do.
You guys will never complain about rain out there.
Oh, we need all we can get. That's for sure. I just don't like it on pool day.
Yeah.
Right.
Day after is fine, but this event.
Oh, go ahead.
But,
Yep.
no, I was say this Golden State Invitational last year was our first year. It's kind of been a dream of mine to put on just a big 2-day event, and it happens to be in our hometown, which makes it nice. We want to create a destination pool, and I heard you guys talking with Ryan about like Diesels and Dark Corners is what they're becoming, and that's what our goal is to make it somewhere where the pullers just they put it on their calendar. Everybody wants to get in, and I hate having to tell people no, that we don't, we can't invite them this year, or we didn't have room or whatever, but it is kind of cool that there is a little bit of excitement out there among pullers that people are wanting to get into this event after we only did it once, but our second year, there is some excitement for people to come. So that's kind of cool. And our goal with this event is to make it, every puller that's here and the fans that come to watch, we want this to be their favorite event of the year. We've got meals for the pullers both Friday and Saturday. There's a camping area. Man, I think we've already got 40 RVs on the reservation list. So it just really is it's a good event. Great feeling. It's just neat, the atmosphere and having, last year, what really blew me away was Thursday. The pool's Friday and Saturday. So Thursday we're setting up, and they were setting the stage up for the concert. And I looked, and the RV park was half full Thursday afternoons, which was cool. Just, people getting there and getting set up and just hanging out. It was neat.
Yeah, I like the way the phrase tonight, I think that's going to be walked away with, is the term destination pull. And I think that's really something that we're looking at right here. Diesels and Dark Corners has kind of developed into what it is at this point. You guys are just on your second pull with the Golden State Invitational. It did not take you long to hit the hammer before we in the pulling world, us just bleacher bum fans here in the Midwest, were like, ooh, that one, that's one that we want to watch. That's one that we want to go to. So I think the pull that you guys put on last year, do you just feel like you're ready to kick down the door for year 2, and it's just you're running on some of that success?
Yes. And we were, going into it, we didn't know what to expect. I had high hopes and high expectations, and I can say that event exceeded my hopes and dreams. That got us fired up to go ahead and book this year's. And, now with all the, I don't want to say last minute stuff because we're 3 weeks away, but, now we're in the thick of getting everything organized and everything set up and done and finalized. And, but it's funny, last night, Christy and I had dinner. 2 of us went out to dinner, and she asked me, what am I most looking forward to this event? And once we can get through all this, the planning and the setting up and whatnot, it's really hanging out with all of our puller friends and family for 2 or 3 days. It just, I'm also very excited about the pulling competition and the caliber of equipment that we'll have here. But I don't think I could pick one thing that we look forward to the most. It's just, it was an awesome feeling, and that's what we're looking forward to again this year.
Now, is this your only 2-day event on your schedule?
No, just a couple weeks ago, we did one up in Modesto, not far from us, with the junior college. Whole different feeling and a whole different event. But I think that we did these 2 this year. But you guys know it. For pullers, it's awesome. Well, for everybody, once you're there for a 1-day event, hanging out and doing the next one, I don't know, I can say it's easier, but it's better.
Fun.
It's a lot more fun.
2-day events are excellent, and I'm going to kind of tell you from a fan's perspective and experience that we've had. Every year we go on a big pull trip, and we set a destination pull for the year. And one year we did 3 pulls in 3 days, and we went to a different spot at each pull. But each of those pulls had at least a 2-day session. And at the end of it, we didn't truly feel like we'd gotten the experience or the fill, because we decided it's a whole lot better if you're going to go somewhere that has a 2-day pull, go there and stay, because you're going to see how does the track change, how do the drivers make developments, is Friday night just kind of a test and tune and Saturday night they set on kill, or do they have to make up the ground early if they're going to win? So a 2-day session, pullers love it. They pull there, they park the rig, they're getting 2 for 1. But we as fans love the narrative that can develop over 2 days of pulling, and he did this last night. Watch, he moved a weight to the front, or he whatever, freshly cut tires, or he threw a rod. Did he get his motor back on? I mean, there's a 2-day event makes it a lot of fun for fans. So that's you hit the nail on the head there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I think it's better for both sides. When we can. Obviously, not every venue can support that, and it just doesn't always work. I guess in a perfect world, it would.
How many hooks can we expect to see? What was your hook count last year, ballpark, and what are you looking at for this year?
We should be about 60 per night this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it.
Do you cap any classes off? I mean, is there a magic number?
Not really. We kind of in the beginning we talked about looking at our schedule and what our classes have been throughout the year. Out here, for some reason, the biggest class we have is the pro modified 4-wheel drives. And a friend and I were just talking the other day and just kind of, bouncing the names out. There's really 25, right around 25 trucks that could show up at any time. We never get that many, but, we may have 8 or 9 at an event. We do have 12 coming to this event. So, and that's our largest class by numbers. And there's actually a couple guys that would have been invited, but they're hurt their motor late in the year or whatever, so they're not going to be ready. But so our biggest class is, like I said, there'll be 12 pro modifieds. As far as the modified tractors, there's 3 in the 8,000 pound class. Of course, Donnie Fagundes with Max Cackle, and the Koreas with Get Her Done, and then Jared Britsky with his Swiss Power, and all 3 of them have registered to come. And we're really not supposed to get into classes tonight, Jason told me, but anyways, that's so our heavy mod class. There'll be, we've got 3 guys that run out here. In the 7,400 pound class, I think we're looking about 6, maybe 7. So that's a strong class. There's some good running tractors in that
There's
class.
a kid from Kentucky that showed up out there that probably stepped the game up in that class.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And I'd love that, except for we have a tractor in that class. So, but and actually he stepped up the lighter class too. They've got 1 in each, that they're just incredible machines. In fact, the first time we ran their twin engine was at our show in Chowchilla early this year, and it just as far as how we set the sled, everything, it's all different now. And we learned a lot in one night.
So I don't know if you're familiar, Michael. It's Brant Sullivan.
Oh, okay. When you said Kentucky, that was the last names that I was assuming. So
Brant has moved out to California, and I think he's got his hand in quite a few trucks and tractors now, as far as building engines for them and doing work.
Tinkering with drag racing a little bit.
Yes. So I've really enjoyed getting to know him and becoming friends with him. But
that's awesome. So
the pedigree is definitely there.
Yeah, they can make a motor sing. There's no doubt about that.
And I think he told me that his dad and grandpa are going to come out to watch the event and hang out. Yeah. They weren't interested in driving a hauler out that far with any tractor or 2-wheelers, but I can't blame them. That's a plane trip.
But
so
you do have Mr. Purser's coming again, isn't he?
He's not.
That's what I was wondering about. That's what I was hoping to hear tonight.
No. So he was here last year. I just talked to him. Well, it's probably been about 2 weeks ago since we talked, but the last 3 or 4 times he had run, he broke a valve. Different motors breaking valves, and he says, "Well, I can't complain. They're 18 years old, so I got my money out of them. So he's rebuilding everything. So it's not going to work for him to come out this year. But that was pretty awesome to have him at our first event. Boy, talk about a bad machine right there. That it was incredible.
So I'm a big believer that no one person in anything, wins or dominates something, be it a basketball team or a pulling event or whatever, it takes a village. But that being said, the pass that Wayne Purser put down last year and the social media attention and the YouTube and stuff that got following it at your guys' place, do you feel that pass really helped kind of, the fans said, "Oh man, look at that," like I said, I don't want to take away from anything anyone did, but maybe Wayne's was just kind of a nice little cherry on top of something that was already excellent.
You're 100% right. And I'm with you. Not to take away anything from any of our competitors. And I've said this a number of times that when we go to anywhere, now here in our hometown, I like to think that people are going to come to see our vehicles or whatever, just friends. But no matter where we go, nobody came to see any one particular vehicle. Like you just said, I mean,
yep.
Any one vehicle cannot be there, and you're still going to have a good show. Yep. It's going to be great. Fans are going to love it. The excitement will be there. But you're also right. That pass where Wayne parked the front end onto the asphalt of the track, which had to be 380.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 380 something. It was.
Did you have funny thoughts going through your head, like we're not going to stop, or?
Well,
you probably don't have enough weight even to stop that thing, do you?
I would have had to borrow weight from what I've heard. How like Vaughn sets them up for those guys. I could have borrowed some from the other sled, but but did I think that it wasn't going to stop last year? I was a month out of having back surgery last year, so I didn't even run the sled. So okay. I did feel for the guy running it for me, though. Alan Isaacson was running it, and but also, as a sled operator, I know Wayne well enough, but I also know of him enough to know that he's pretty smart and he's not going to do anything stupid to put himself in a bad spot. And even with our tractor, with our regular guys, I should say, I know the vehicles pretty well, and I know the drivers well enough to know that if I do miss the mark, they're going to take care of it. I mean, there's a lot of faith both ways there, I guess, between the driver and the sled operator. And normally we get it right, but every once in a while we screw up, and they take care of us, and they'll let out and put on a good show. But I still watch that video of Wayne's pass, and it's just pretty incredible.
Yeah, as a fan, I've got everyone's got drivers that they really like, but at a pull, you don't go into it the same way you do at a basketball game, and you're not rooting for just this, and you're not rooting against that. You're always rooting for the big one. So as a promoter, if your pull can have one of the big ones, I mean, I just feel like that's a win-win for everybody involved.
I can't thank. A lot of people thought, oh, you paid him all this big money to come out here. He came out and just pulled for the purse. He didn't take any fuel money. He didn't ask for anything. And I can't thank Wayne and Dana enough for making that trip to give us that credibility. That was a huge springboard for us for our event. And it also was it was so great for us. Afterwards we were talking to Wayne and Dana, and both of them complimented our event and how we ran the pull. Dana was right by the starting line, I think, on Friday night before Wayne. He was the last pass to go down the track, and I kind of gave her a hug, and I said, hey, I can't thank you guys enough for being here. This is awesome. And she looked at me and she says, if you had told me we'd be pulling right now at this time, it was like, I think the show started at 5 or so. Anyways, it was 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes from start to where they were running. And I think we had 65 hooks last year. So she says, if you had told me that we'd be pulling at this time, I'd never believe it. She says, I've never seen a pull run so fast and so smooth. So that really meant a lot to us to hear that from them. I mean, they've been to plenty of pulls and competed all over the country. But that just speaks to the team that we have Our track crew was incredible. We were a lot of people looked at me kind of funny. We had 5 pieces of equipment on each track. We had 2 scrapers, 2 rollers, and the Bobcats with the Bungart rakes on them, and it was organized chaos. Everybody was working together, and we were putting the track back together. And that was the first time out here that anybody had ever used the Bobcats and the rakes. And now this year we're going to have 4. We're going to have 2 on each track, as well as 2 rollers on each track. So one thing we pride ourselves on is putting the most effort possible into building a good track. Some areas we go to, it's all sand and it's a rodeo arena, whatever. The end result isn't as good as we want, but it's the best that we can get. Luckily here in Madera, we have good dirt in the infield of this racetrack. So for us, it's a very good track. It's not the real heavy clay like you guys are used to in a lot of places.
I was just going to say, is there such a thing as clay in California?
There's a couple dirt tracks where they've brought it in, but this is an asphalt track, so we're just stuck with the infield dirt. But it is good dirt, and John Spielman heads up our track building, and he's lined up all the equipment for us, and he's out there on the track doing whatever as well as competing. But it just we've put together a great team over the years, and it's paying off and working well.
The track, you've been like reading my mind. You've been one step, I don't even have to look at my notes because you're just going right down them here. I didn't watch the show front to back last year, but I tried to watch as much as I could on all the social media platforms and on YouTube just to make sure that, I was keeping up with what was happening in pulling. And I don't know, as a person from Missouri, I don't know what I expected a California pulling track to look like. I didn't pay attention in geography class well enough to know, the differences in Missouri soil and California soil. But the first thing I showed all my buddies last year was my first impression. I said, this track is in excellent condition. This track is a pulling track that someone's worked on this track and has very high standards and knows what they're doing. And that was kind of my gut impressions when I was watching the pull last year.
Well, thank you I appreciate hearing that. And I know John, I think he's watching, and he does. In fact, we the last 2 events we've done were real sandy tracks, but going into it, he had a plan. This is what he wants to do, and this is what we're going to do. And we did it. And then we left, and he goes, well, it wasn't great, but it was better than it had been in the past. And but like I said, he's already got the equipment lined up. He's got operators lined up. Because that's the other thing, you put 10 pieces of equipment out there, you need 10 people that can do this. Yeah. Especially those skid steers, you got to be pretty smooth on that. And the guys that he's got lined up have been phenomenal for us. So I
don't think we've mentioned yet that this will also be live streamed on beermoneypulling.tv.
Well,
they do a great job, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. And
they do a great job.
Yes, it will. We're excited about that. We did live stream it last year, and but now this time it's with. I don't think we had Beer Money Pulling TV last year.
No, we did not.
So we're excited. And the other thing, not to really jump all over the place, but Ryan mentioned it at the end of your last segment. Our relationship with Beer Money, and Doug is helping, and everybody at the office, and of course I'm pretty close with Jason too. That has been, I mean, I don't want to say too much because Jason will raise the price on me. But it's been phenomenal. The amount of growth and exposure that we've gotten just through your platform. I know it is the largest pulling platform there is online, but I really value that relationship we have, and all the help that Doug, that you've given us, and what the whole crew does for us. So it's there is a lot
person in that office. I'll tell you that.
What's that?
I said it's not just one person in the office. I mean, everybody does their job, and
yes,
I don't know the first thing. I can put a video together, but Chandler and Mackenzie do awesome, and
yeah,
it's a dream team. So
yeah, and it's you guys all work well together, and like you said, everybody does their thing, and we really appreciate the help and the support, and looking forward to growing our relationship and just keep moving pulling forward and upward out
Yeah.
here.
It makes it so accessible. And then I think that kind of segues into one thing that's so awesome for just a Midwestern fan like me that you guys out there in California are doing, being able to put a poll in November and then having someone out there who can live stream it. I mean, you guys are working your butts off and I'm sitting here, with the popcorn and the volume control, but I'm getting, we are getting to watch polling. Not just, we talked about this on our last segment a little bit, not just June to September, but now we can watch it in October. We can watch it in November. And so that's kind of an undertapped market for you guys that you can hit on because our seasons have gotten too cold. And then if Beer Money and whoever goes out there and live streams it, I mean, what a win-win for everyone involved.
Yes. And, we didn't, going into it last year, well, up until about a month prior to the event, we didn't know how any of that worked. And then that's when I hooked up with Jason and he just got the ball rolling. And that just adding the live stream also adds one more level to your event. Just for the competitors, that it's good for their sponsors. It's just a win-win, I believe.
Yeah. And,
you mentioned pulling in November. I don't know if you guys are praying people, but we could really pray for no rain that weekend would be great. The weekend after, the Monday after is fine, but just the 10th and 11th, we don't need any.
2 a.m. on Sunday night, you'll be fine. Well, maybe we'll get the haulers out of there first.
Yeah.
After the haulers are gone, then we'll.
They're probably on blacktop, aren't they?
Yes. Yes.
There you go. We'll pencil it in for 2 a.m. Sunday night, rain in Central California in the greater Madera district.
Perfect.
We'll call it good. So 6 o'clock both nights, right? November 10th and 11th, 6 o'clock at the Madera Speedway.
Yes. Right here in Madera. They just had a huge ARCA race Saturday night at the Speedway. So there's a lot of good things going on at this venue. Kenny Shepard runs the track, and he was actually a driver I think he drove in the Busch Series. I don't know if he ever drove Cup, but anyways, he's in it for racing like we are for pulling. I mean, all he wants to do is grow the sport and grow young drivers, and that's why we pull, and that's why we put on events, is to help keep the sport growing and trying to just put on the best events that are out here.
Is the Golden State Invitational the only one you have at the Speedway, or do you have a handful of other pulling events there throughout the year too?
No. In years past, we had a really a neat event with Kenny. Their biggest race of the year was called the Harvest Classic in September. Big open wheel race, super modifieds. All their top classes were there. So for 5 or 6 years, we worked together, and they'd run a main event, and then we'd sneak in like 2 classes, and we'd pull for 30 or 40 minutes, and then we'd get out of the infield. Then they'd go run a main event. And so it was really cool to cross over. And, these race car guys have never seen us pull. And we never really get to go to their races because we're always pulling somewhere else. So it was neat. But then COVID, when he couldn't have anybody in the stands, that kind of just knocked everything down. And then he was working at building up his attendance again after they could get people. And then, of course, last year I talked to him and worked out a deal and just got a weekend at the track. And so now we're just going to do our standalone deal.
What's the racing season out there usually, or do they not stop?
This last weekend was his last points race, sanctioned race, and then next weekend they do another big event, a pumpkin smash. They go smash hundreds of pumpkins on a track, and then do I think it's like a 100-lap destruction derby, but they call it an enduro, and the guys are just flying all over. So it is kind of nice for us to be after his season, because then last year we were the week before a race, so we had to get out and sweep the track and get everything clean and get it. We'd leave a little bit of dirt or oil on the track, and then the guys come to race the next weekend, and it's not the best racing surface. And so that's the one good thing about being in November. His season is over. We're not going to put dirt on the track and cause a problem for him. We want to be good tenants, if you will, and leave everything better than we found it, and not cause him any headaches for his bread and butter races.
What was that the purpose for moving it? Because it looked like it was almost like maybe this weekend a
No,
year ago
the-
or pretty close to it.
You're right. It was. And so the ARCA series tells the racetracks, well, we can be at your facility on this date.
Mhm.
So ARCA wanted, or the only weekend ARCA could come was this past weekend. So then we got bumped, and I was not about to do it the weekend before his huge
Yeah.
race.
Yeah.
And then next weekend he's got an event, and then I think the fairgrounds has something else on the grounds on the November 4th. So that's how we got pushed back to the 10th and 11th. We are excited to be on Veterans Day. Of course, we love America and
Mhm.
everything there. So we are excited to celebrate our veterans, and several pullers are veterans with us. And we've got some different areas. We're going to donate some VIP tickets to the Veterans Hall here in town, so they can have some members come. And so we're excited to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a neat
how
thing.
big is Madeira?
I think we're about 70,000 people.
Okay, so it is. It's substantial.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
not. It's not Liberty, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not far from Fresno, which is a couple 100,000 people. And then to the north, Sacramento's about 2.5 hour drive to the north. We're in what they call the San Joaquin Valley. It's all agriculture around us. We're in the only good part of the state, right in the middle.
What do you grow there? Are you corn and soybeans too?
No. Almonds have really
Almonds?
almonds and grapes, and then I mean there's tomatoes, there's cotton, there's all that kind of stuff. But
The
I think
dairies
almonds
aren't
and
as
grapes.
relevant as they were, are they? Or that was more of the San Joaquin Valley.
We are the San Joaquin Valley.
Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of grapes got torn out, and almonds went in, and when the prices were great, and then almond prices have tanked, and some of them are coming out. And then we don't have any water, so it's a mess.
Huh.
And we got our politics. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I don't think I'll offend anybody by saying the politics suck out here, but it is what it is.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's
yeah.
Well, we're looking at the Golden State Invitational. Another cool name. I mean, talk about cool names for pulling events. I mean, that's got a great ring to it. In Madera, California, November 10th and 11th, 6 o'clock both nights. Invitational, not necessarily it's not like you qualify. You receive an invitation based on several metrics that you discussed earlier in the show.
Yes.
Invitational pulling is fun. I've been to a few invitational pulls. That's you like what you see when you're a fan at an invitational pull. That's for sure.
That's a good way to put it. But it is, it's exciting for me and for Christy to see the excitement among pullers. When we sent out the invitations, and we probably half the guys registered. Well, we were sending them kind of late at night, but either some did it that night, a lot did it the next day, or that weekend we got over half of them in right away, which is pretty cool to see.
Where's your farthest east invitation? What state?
Courtney, Utah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we invited Wayne and Kent Urban came last year with his twin engine. It's not going to work for him to come this year, but so I mean, technically they were invited. But,
okay, so you're sending them as far east as Oklahoma, and flirting with being in the Midwest then too. So
yes, but I also am very realistic that's a minimum of a 2-day drive.
Yeah,
and fuel is outrageous right now. So I didn't really expect too much from the Midwest. I do want to get to that point where we've got a handful of tractors coming out here, and that's neat for our guys to be able to compete, because a lot of our competitors, it's just not going to work for them to go the other way either. During the year to go run with the Outlaws or to go run somewhere else. So it is neat to bring other competitors here. But I am also very confident in the equipment that we have out here. That I mean, we could put on a damn good show, and we do it all year long with our our California pullers.
Yeah.
We do have 2 modified trucks coming from Oregon, which they've run with us in the past. So the equipment is out here.
Yeah.
And I think Jason was, that was the other good thing about having Jason out here to see what we actually have is we have good equipment. We, competitor wise, it just, it's exciting out here. We have good trucks, good tractors, good sleds, and good people. So it's, we can.
I took in a poll. I think it was 17. The last year Donnie had his event at the rodeo there. That was the last time I was out there.
Right, out in Clements.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Those were huge shows. That place just wasn't. It's not set up right for a pull.
Right.
Was that the year,
Michael? You had 2 tracks. You had one that ran straight along the seats, and you had one that ran kitty corner. If you wanted to keep going, you had to make a slight left turn and shoot her out the gate.
I've seen that track. I didn't know what it was and where it was, but I've seen the videos where you kind of swerve it at the end if you want to add a little bit more to it.
I think like that year or the year before, Donnie went and made a deal with the people that owned it, and they took out several pins that were at the end of the track so we could widen that opening. And he made them put sleeves in the ground, made them removable. But yeah, without that, shoot, it was like a 12-foot gate. And
right.
I mean, you're hitting that at a 45. And,
so not only are you turning, but you have to turn precisely
at the right time. Yeah.
You've got to thread a needle. So,
and then, you know what happens at that end of the track when they turn hard, the sleds just slide around the side. So
it's going to push you too once that chain gets into that side. Yeah.
So those were fun events too. And that was a 2-day show. I'm sure when you were there, Doug, it was 2 days. But yeah, it was good times.
I love that you highlight the good and competitive equipment that you have. And I kind of want to keep circling back to this November 10th and 11th date. To me as a fan, that just feels like absolute money because that frees we're starved for pulling this time of year. And so it's, we want to be watching pulling. So this gives us an opportunity through the live stream or hopping on one of those big scary airplanes or whatever to go out there and see that and see firsthand. We've seen some of the videos on social media. It kind of got floated around last year. I truly believe there is premier level equipment out there. And it just feels like because of where it lands this year, the audience is going to be able to take all that in. And I know as a fan, I'm looking forward to that. And I think a lot of pulling fans feel similarly.
Well, I appreciate that. And I never thought about that, but I hope you're right. And I think this week or next week, all the live stream information will be coming out as to where, I guess to purchase it. But yeah, if you won't be disappointed in the competition. I can tell you that. We've got 60 of the best vehicles that are out here west of, I don't know.
The Rockies?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So from Oregon to Utah to California and just circle that left side of the map.
Yes.
So
yeah. No. It is. It's going to be good. We're still living off last year's excitement and building a little bit.
Adding a VIP area for spectators.
Yeah, we did it. Christie's added a VIP area for spectators, just a little nicer, little better seating for them. Have a little dinner area for them. So that, and also, sponsors can use that as a corporate event for customers or whatever. So we're excited. We got food trucks coming. It's going to be a whole
camping. You guys have got plenty of camping on site too. Yeah.
I think they said there's like 75 spots with hookups on, on the fairgrounds. Not that this matters this time of year, but I think all the spots are under shade trees. And, I want to say we had 45 RVs there last year, which is cool. That blew me away. On Thursday, we were out there, and I turned around, I looked, I said, "Holy shit, this campground is half full." I mean, it was cool. You know, now, and I had one guy call me and he's renting 5 RV spots and he's not a puller, just coming with a big group of people, just coming to watch the event and hang
That's
out
what
for
you
the
want.
weekend. So
That's
That's a good thing.
yeah, I mean, it's awesome. We're excited.
You have to rent
It's-
generators and string power cords for everybody, then you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, no kidding. So, well, the funny thing is, the fairgrounds several years ago, they spent a ton of money and they put all this infrastructure in with the power, and I mean, they got 50 amp power at all these and water, and then during COVID, of course, everything got shut down. Well, now after COVID, the fairgrounds doesn't want to reopen the RV park, which is just in the grounds, but they're letting us for race weekends. You can do it, and you know, this will be the biggest event for the RV part of the fairgrounds for the whole year. I know that. Um, so it's cool. It's a great weekend.
If I were you, I would not be surprised if you walked through that campground and saw it almost completely full. And if you saw license plates from well east of California, I just feel like, you know, this is growing into something where you're going to each year see more and more fans drawn to it.
Well, you know, I talked to Marcus Jansen this morning, and he's bringing his RV out with his wife and one of the boys, and he said they're coming from Phoenix. I know they're from Nebraska. He runs with Donald Nelson with the Bullwhip, but anyways, they're coming out to hang out for the weekend and watch and just be here. So
you'll have at least one Wisconsin license plate back there somewhere too, right, Doug?
No, that's an airplane trip.
He's going on an airplane. Yeah.
You guys get all your equipment and everything, and you don't have to bring your like trailer or whatever.
This is going to be a unique situation, but no, we don't need to take everything. So
the fairground or the Speedway, they have their own TV production company.
Sure.
They live stream a lot of their races, so they have everything we need, and they're the ones that filmed it last year. So we're kind of lucky in that respect. We just hire them to do that. Doug and those guys don't have to haul everything out. So
they'll beam it to us, and then we will put it together and send it out. So it gets double live streamed.
That's
yeah.
Huh. I'm not going to try to pretend to understand how all that works. I'm just going to say that sounds really cool, and it's going to be the HDMI cord will take it from my laptop to my TV. As long as I get that part of it, we're good.
Yeah. That I have no idea how any of that works either.
No. So November 10th and 11th, Golden State Invitational. Brian Massetti from MLM Motorsports. MLM Motorsports being the truck and tractor pulling organization out there that you kind of captain and lead. And well, that kind of is you kind of are MLM Motorsports. And
Christy and I are, yeah.
6 o'clock both nights. What does MLM stand for?
So back in 2000 when we started, I had 2 partners, Paul Leishman and Bruce McClintock, and they were pullers. And I was a lot younger back then, and I didn't think I could do this and put all this stuff together. And so they convinced me we could do it together. So it's Massetti, Leishman, McClintock. And then after a couple of years, they I don't think they lost interest in pulling, but they kind of went different ways. And so then we didn't dissolve. The whole company came to Christy and I, but we didn't want to change the name or the logo or anything like that. So,
so are those all Portuguese influenced names?
I thought it sounded like a law firm.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what Paul Leishman is. He's just a good old boy. And Bruce McClintock, I don't know. He might be Irish. I don't know. But yeah, well, Bo will always be a little older than me, but that's okay. But one other thing, Mike, the GSI23.com is our website that has all the information. Try to keep it easy, just GSI23. That's the pullers registered through that. I think food truck information is there. Ticket sales are online. You can buy our T-shirts and hats, sweatshirts. Anybody that's coming to the event can go on and purchase their swag there, and then we'll have it bagged up and ready to go when they come to the event. They don't have to wait in lines at the t-shirt booth.
Ooh, I like that. That's cool. So
Yeah, last year for competitors, we opened up the t-shirt stand like an hour or two before the show, but then they'd have to go from the pits and go over there and do that. So now you can just order it online, pay for it online. They'll be bagged and ready to go. So if it's a puller, when they go check in and sign their waiver and all that, they'll just hand them their, when they get their pit passes, they'll give them their t-shirts or sweatshirts, whatever. So we got we can ship if we need to, but anybody that's coming, they can pick it up there. We're really excited about our shirt design this year. We went with the the American flag. One of our pullers, Nick Gorell, has a twin turban, calls it Semper Fi. He's a Marine, so kind of a nod to our veterans there.
yeah, with it being on Veterans Day as well, so then that ties in really, really nicely.
Yes. So, and then the other two vehicles are father and son competitors that pull in, one a pro modified, one a diesel pickup. So, kind of cool keeping it all in the family there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So pulling is fun. Pulling is fun, guys. This is great stuff.
It is. And the GSI can.
Will you be able to have commercial vendors?
Probably, or I don't know if he's talking about like their each individual team sell their stuff. Yeah, we could probably work something out with that. Russell's a good dude. He makes all our hats for us. So, the other thing we got is this year's. We do these rings for championship for both nights. This was last year's, but this year's look even a little bit better. They stand out a little better. So we have, Friday night is one competition, trophies and purse for every, trophies for first and second, and then the purse payouts for everybody. Saturday is a whole nother competition with a new purse and new trophies, but then we do a combined winner for the weekend, and then they get these rings. And then this is this was last year's. I don't know if you can see. It's acrylic.
That's excellent.
We're going to do something similar to this this year. So it's kind of cool. It's the shape of California. Got our logos on there.
To win the ring, is that an average finish over 2 nights?
Yes. Yeah. So we keep points, and we base it on 50, 48, 46, 44, and so on.
Yep.
So, and the points for these classes go to our year-long points race.
Mm-hmm.
But then those 2 nights are also their own points race.
Yeah.
And then, I've got it all written out, but if in theory with 2 nights and that kind of point spread, you can have a tie real easily.
Yeah.
So then we go to, if somebody got a first and a third and somebody got 2 seconds, that would come out the same. Well, the first place is the kicker to give you the win. If it was a first and a second that flip flop, then we go to distance, combined distance for the night. So, and we also had a couple of extra rings made in case we go through all of our deals and it's just a tie. Then we'll call it a tie. I don't see that happening. When you go to distance, that really adds in a random factor to it. So
obviously it looks like, if you were in the 380s last year before you started hitting the speedway, you've got plenty of track to play with, so they can get out there and get that. They can sort that out on the money side of the track for sure.
Yeah. No, we're able to run a 320-foot track, and then but we run floating finishes. We don't but we'll run it out to 320 anyways. So of course about 330 or 340 it starts getting real loose. So we make sure the rollers never go out there.
Yeah.
So just in case somebody gets away with one. So
that makes sense. So looks like an awesome event. Last year was an awesome event. I shouldn't say looks like is an awesome event. Looks like it's going to be an even more awesome. I teach English by day. Awesomer, more awesome. Even
both of those work for me.
So It looks like it's going to be. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to watching it. So there's no doubt about
Cool.
that.
Well, we appreciate that. I appreciate you guys letting me come on tonight, talk about this event.
It's been fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Golden State Invitational. Give us anything that we haven't covered. Give us your best, shoot from the hip style, talking about it. Whatever you want to say. Let the world, let the internet know about BSI 23.
Like I told Jason a couple weeks ago, it's all about the vibe at this event, and that vibe comes from awesome people, an awesome venue, awesome competitors. I'm going to go ahead and say it's the premier event in California pulling. Maybe we'll piss a few people off there, but that's okay. It's that level of pulling. The competition on the track is going to be unlike you see anywhere else. But then an hour later out in the campground, these guys are all going to be having beers together and hanging
And
out.
one thing we haven't talked about the concert Friday night.
We're not doing a concert this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I should zip my shot.
That's why we're not talking about it.
That makes valid
Doug,
sense.
you're singing. You're headlining now, Doug. You are the concert.
Yeah, Doug. Appreciate you volunteering to come on out. No, we did concerts last year. It didn't add what we wanted it to add as far as people. The pullers, some of them stayed in and hung out at the concerts, but a lot of them just went back out to the camp area, which is not. I mean, it's 100 yards from the main gate of the speedway. Everything's right there close, but it just didn't add what we wanted it to add. So we've got a DJ coming for music while, because after the show's over, the food trucks are still there and the beer garden is open on the speedway side, of course. And then we'll do Saturday night after the show in the tent. We will do our awards for the rings, and then we'll go over all that stuff. But the winners of each class, what we did last year was kind of awesome. We drug them around the track, and they ended up right at the start finish line in their victory lane, if you will. And then Jason was there to give them their trophy and let them talk to the crowd a little bit. So that's kind of cool. We can spotlight the winner of each class each night during the show. We'll try to get everybody together afterwards in the big tent, and we'll do the ring presentations and do all that. But so we're not doing a concert, but we are having music there and food, and everybody hanging out, have a good time. So
that's it. Yeah, I would say on those concerts before, people go to pools to go to pools. It's kind of been my thing. So it's do all your thing with it, but you tend to find that camaraderie and that atmosphere somewhere between the pits and the campground afterwards, telling glory stories and swapping sob stories about what broke and what you're going to change for tomorrow, and that tends to be where it's at, I think. So
I agree with you 100%. And we are not concert promoters, and we don't want to be. We want to put on the best pull and make it the best experience for pullers. And a concert doesn't really do that. So we'll stick to what we know, and we'll put on some good pulls.
Yep. So that's awesome, man. That's great.
Well, we thank you for coming on.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Best
of luck at
the
Golden State Invitational, and that's going to be awesome. We're looking forward to it.
It is, and this week I'm hoping that Jason has some time. We're going to go ahead and announce all the competitors in the classes. We've got the registrations are all just about finalized, and we'll get that put out and start keeping the planning going.
Keep in mind, rain has been ordered for 2 a.m. Sunday morning and not 1 minute sooner. So
much appreciated.
Oh man, Brian, thank you so much for your time. That was a ton of fun talking about Golden State Invitational with the MLM Motorsports.
And it's good to meet you, Mike and Doug. Always good to see you again.
Yep.
Have a good night,
sir.
You guys too. Well, thank you.
Take care.
Yep.
All
Have
right,
a good night.
Good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
How
So,
come I
Doug?
get the spotlight?
What's that?
I said, how come I get the spotlight? There we go. That's
Oh,
that's
hey guys. Well, we can zoom in on the 750. Tonight's featured tractor is the Minneapolis Moline G750. Doug, did you hang out? Were you in Lufkin this weekend?
I was not. I was being a good son and moving my mother. So
No. I was being not the best husband and watching tractor pulling. So but no, that looked like a great time, and it looks like pulls coming up after Diesels and Dark Corners and Golden State Invitational are the next two Shipshewana and Zellwood. Then we're spilling into
correct.
next year.
the second weekend in January.
Mm-hmm. The Shipshewana is that's the first one.
That's the Midwest Winter Nationals.
And what are the dates on that?
The 10th or 11th.
I wrote it on my calendar today and then left my calendar. It's 11, 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, something like that. Sounds right.
Yeah, 10, 11, 12, 13. Test polling on the 10th. Events 11, 12, 13. And Zellwood is the 12th and 13th. So
They overlap a little bit.
this year they do.
Okay. Yeah, Shipshewana, that's the Midwest Winter Nationals. That's the one I'm sure most people have heard of. That kind of gets a lot of spotlight in there. But Zellwood, Florida, that one I had to do some looking into today. That's Florida. I should have written it down. Florida
Super Bowl. Yep, Florida Pullers.
Okay. In Zellwood, Florida. Will you be at either of those?
I will be in Zellwood.
Nice. Awesome.
The girls are going to Shipshewana, Hope and Kenzie. And then Jason and I are going to Zellwood. So,
and Shipshewana, I was flipping through their schedule today. Boy, they don't hurt for iron there, do they?
No, they don't. I
Comes to
think I
classes,
saw 70 hot farms or something in there.
and just the number of classes alone, and you can almost just follow by, if you can think of a pulling vehicle that would fit in this weight bracket, you can start at like 1850. I don't even know them well enough, but 1850 like Econo mini rod all the way up to like 13,000 pro field or something. They just jump every 1,000 pounds.
They're gonna run 5.0 pro stocks in there this year. So.
I saw that one really looked like that's gonna be, boy, there's some mean. That's a class that's taken off and gotten hot in a hurry. The 5.0s, and even the 5.0s will run at Louisville against the big pros sometimes. And
there isn't. No, most of those guys will jump up. Like Meddings,
they'll slap the bigger turbo on
and put the intercooler on.
They'll do like what Connor Medding did and then forget to take it off and then just keep rocking and rolling with it, into the next season.
Yep.
So these are
that big, or the guys that bought our trailer were building a big pro, and now they're downsizing to a 5.0. They're just think the reliability's there, and they put on a good show.
Yeah, I think they do. I feel that way a lot. I was a diehard alcohol pulling fan. I liked light super stocks. I liked the super stock open. When they hit and they go off like a rocket. But anytime alcohol pullers are involved, you're guaranteed midway through the class, there are going to be gremlins. And it seems like with a 4.1 turbocharger or a 5.0 turbocharger, those things feel like you could turn them into workhorses. It just feels like you could put 30 passes on those tractors, and from a promoter
you can put 32 passes on them before they go.
They just, as we saw, you can almost count that to the T, but the reliability on them. And I was sitting in, I won't say where, but I was sitting at a show a couple years ago in a state east of us. We were watching light super stocks, and just 6 of them in a row. We had 2 of them light and they went awesome. And then 6 of them in a row, just boom at the exact same spot. And that comes with the territory. But as a fan, you want to see power put to the ground, not blown into the sky.
We had one event with the Outlaws this summer, and it was, I won't say where it was, but there was a couple of passes made, and then there got to be a soft spot in the track, and every one of them had problems when they hit that soft spot when they over-revved.
I could guess, and I won't. So but that comes with
That's
the
right.
territory, So but yeah, the
But
5.0
that's kind of hard on equipment too,
the 5.0 Pro stocks are hard runners, very reliable. The 4.1s, obviously, or the 4.1s pull at Shipshawana too, right?
Correct.
I think I saw Limited Pro
And
in
the
there.
Light Pros.
The class that I accidentally fell in love with this summer, and it was one that I had kind of overlooked for far too long, is the LLP class, is the Light Limited Pro. That
the
the
8500.
not the Light Pro, but the Light Limited Pro that run. What's their? Is that just a
I think
3.0
they're
turbo?
3x4.
Okay. And at 8,500 pounds, though, still, I think they're at 8,500
I think
pounds.
they're a 466 with a 3x4.
What do they weigh?
8,500.
Yeah, 8,500 pounds. Yeah,
Like
that's
24 5s.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that there's a lot of pretty tractors in that class. That one's got a lot of show and shine material. So
I think the tractors that don't get the love, well, shouldn't say they don't get the love. They get a lot of negative. I still think that Light Limited Super class is cool.
The
there's
light
so much variety in that class. That
Light Limited Super or the Light Super Ag.
Light Limited Supers.
I've seen them in Unionville, and I've seen them in I want to say Mexico, Missouri. I think Western Series maybe had them a little, or no,
Outlaws,
maybe it was like an Excalibur. Maybe it
Outlaws
was.
had them twice this year.
They were in maybe at Nebraska. Were they at the Nebraska State Fair?
No, they were at. Oh man, drawing a brain fart. Just north of Kansas City, there by the airport.
Platte City, Platte
Platte
Valley.
City had them.
Yeah, yep. I had some family members at that pull. But are they a single charger class?
It depends. Cubic inches allow certain things. In Wisconsin, they're, they can be like a 466 with a 3x4, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly what they are, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of different rules for one class for combinations.
Yeah.
But that's WTPA's biggest class now.
Is it
17 tractors pretty consistently, I think, this year.
How many on alcohol? How many on diesel?
About a 50-50.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Does the diesel get to weigh more?
I don't think so. I think they have that figured out with the turbo limit and cubic inch limits.
Is it a true?
Some of them can run twins, but most of them are just big singles.
We're seeing more of that. And the more I think about it, I think it is Excalibur is a pulling series in Eastern Missouri that runs. It's either Excalibur or Extreme. I think it's called Excalibur, and they run a Light Limited Super Stock class. And I know that the Carrolls went to, with the Levy Leaper and the Salt River Savage, they're on alcohol, but they run one single big turbo.
Is it Autos that run all of the Molines that are Light Limited Supers?
That name rings a bell, but I don't
remember. Autos are blue, I think. But anyway.
Yes. There's three New Hollands, 4 New Hollands
I'm not sure if those are Light Limited Supers or whatnot.
I thought they were. When you mentioned Light Limited Supers, those were the ones that came to mind. Those are the ones that I've seen. And I think they're all 3 diesel, because I always look at them and I say, well, New Hollands are kind of known. They're bread and butter to run on alcohol. And I always feel like these guys are against what you would expect. And I think they're actually all 3 of them on diesel, which kind of surprised me.
That's the one class that everybody can't agree on rules on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all over the board. They're huge down that Mid-South area, Kentucky, Tennessee, but their rules are different than like the NTPA region rules are one set, and
so the crossover doesn't translate.
They're close, but they're not close enough. Like WTPA and Badger State don't even cross.
So the minute that the National Farm Machinery Show competitor list is released, if you scroll out to the pulling forum, it will be no time at all, or maybe the minute that the schedule is released, it'll be no time at all before we find a thread that says, when will we see Light Limited Supers at National Farm Machinery Show? And so, like you say, the rules are too far apart, but that's You could almost
It's
go out
fun.
and for them.
It's 6,000 pounds, I think, and big tires, and they're kind of hard to drive. That's the way they should be.
That's what people have said. They're one of the few things that they feel, and I have a big theory on this too, as far as how we view it as fans. They're one of the few things that still are light super stocks. I argue that the modern day light super stock has more in common with the traditional 7,500 pound super, and that the modern day super stock open is the new 9,500 pound super, and that the 5,500 pound OG light super doesn't exist. But people say that light limited super is filling that void a little bit.
I remember, I was up north in Wisconsin, and Mark Peisig always used to say they need to bring that light limit class, or the light class needs to go back to 5,500 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But with the addition of cages and all this other stuff, they can't technically do it. I don't know.
I find myself turning into a sheet metal purist, which is a silly thing to be holding on to in 2023. But one of the baddest tractors in North Missouri runs is a light super stock puller, but it's a D21. And if you go look at old, video footage of National Farm Machinery Show, well, D21s were pulling in 12,000 pound classes. So just the concept of claiming a D21, weighs 6,000 pounds.
Probably got a 40 series motor in it.
Right. Mm-hmm. I will not speculate because, that's
the thing about the light limited super is at least the ass matches the hood,
So the class that I did have a ton of fun watching this year was the light super stock ag, which is kind of an offshoot of everything we're talking about. And those, I think it's penciled into the rule book that motor, sheet
everything
metal, rear
matches.
end.
Yep, unless it's an authorized factory replacement.
Yeah.
That's where the light limiteds are too. I didn't know a case could be replaced with a Cummins, but there is one with WTPA. The 5.9 on alcohol. The thing's pretty mean. It runs stupid RPMs.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's that the light super stock ag class. That's someone was on here one time. It might even have been you a couple of weeks ago. You said that class gets Western, and that class can get really interesting when those guys start fighting for control with those. Right. It reminds me of a true light super class.
Yeah, that was a good tussle between Eleanor and the Outlaws. Eleanor, and then was it the Hawkeye hooker?
Yeah, there was the Hawkeye hooker, and then Schluter had the barn burner. Barn burner ended up finishing second. And I watched. I think it was in South Dakota. No, it might have been at Nebraska. I think it was the Nebraska State Fair, and Ulmer brought out the weapon for the first time all year.
Well, he had it out and he hurt it really bad, and it took him a while to get it back together.
He pulled it into first place for the evening before he had hooked with Eleanor. And so you've got the weapon sitting first. You've got barn burner, Corey Schluter's barn burner sitting second. And I thought if Ulmer misses his mark here and actually pulls Eleanor into third, because it was at a point where he needed the extra point that you get in Outlaw for winning. He needed both of those points. Yep. I said he almost would have done better to left the weapon on the trailer, pull Eleanor, win with Eleanor. I said if he even gets second to himself, if he gets second to himself, he's going to walk out of here tied instead of walking away with the lead because he needed the 2 points. I said that might have been risky. Well, of course, what he ended up doing, he ended up winning with Eleanor, which then threw Schluter to third. So he almost used the weapon as a bumper tractor to kind of extend that lead. But that was gutsy to pull that one out of the truck.
If Mark's got something in the trailer, he's not going to back out of it.
So, yeah, that was fun. So, yeah, so as the calendar rolls through, we've got Diesels and Dark Corners. That looks really cool. Golden State Invitational. Are those our final, I guess, the destination pool might be the best word for it, the final, stuff that we look into before 2024?
Yes.
And then it's Shipshewana, Zellwood.
Yep.
Does Zellwood come before National Farm Machinery Show?
Yes, there's 5 weekends in a row in Florida this year. Up to the week up from
starting in that second weekend of
4
January.
weeks, excuse me. Yep.
When is Ocala? I know they've always talked about that one being a big pull.
25th, maybe 25th, 26, 27. And then I know that Mark Kelsey's pull at brain fart now. That's going to be the first weekend in February at the racetrack there at do you remember the name of that town? I can't remember now. That's terrible. Putnam County. It was the Putnam County. It's just add dirt now. They've changed their site or their name of their page on Facebook. But yep.
So then
we go into the farm show.
And then right after that, doesn't NTPA have an indoor pool or at least they used to in March?
Shipshewana
that was
again.
That's what I thought.
Shipshewana and Harrisburg are the same weekend, St. Patrick's Day weekend.
And when we talk about Shipshewana, are we talking? This is the Michiana Event Center, is that
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Did it used to be somewhere else? The Shipshewana Pull.
The Winter Nationals used to be at Gordyville.
Okay, that was the one I knew it was. I couldn't pull it out of my head. So
But good old COVID again came to the rescue,
and so now there's that, and then you're rolling. Then you're close to the Mack Trailer Winter Nationals.
Yep, that is
which
the last.
Which is actually in the springtime because they call like the Midwest Winter Nationals are in the spring, and then one of them that's called like the Spring Nationals is in the winter or something like that.
I believe the Mack Trailers is the 30th of March.
Yeah. And then
April is the April 5th and 6th. I know is the big garden tractor event at New Richmond. That's a 2-day indoor event.
And then you're flirting with May, which will put you at the Pullers Championship. So, I mean, it's
first weekend in May was Texas when we went down there. The second weekend, if it stays the same, will be Sullivan's event, and the third weekend will be the Pullers Championship.
I'd forgotten about that Sullivan's event. That one looked neat. Tim Perry says Southern Motorsports, February 2nd through 4th in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I've heard of Murfreesboro. I think I've driven through there many times.
It's very possible too. January 5th and 6th is the pull in Tennessee as well, or Kentucky. Is it at Lexington? The indoor.
It's indoor, and they do a lot of like pro stock trucks, and pro stock trucks are big down there. I remember, or I think I want to say so.
I mean, Poland doesn't have an off season anymore because like we get back from California, then it's outlaw and banquet season starts.
True. Yeah, I was looking at that.
You get about 2 weeks or 3 weeks of nothing tractor pulling, and
you unwrap you just enough time to put the lights up on the house for Christmas and leave them up there for next year. So,
all righty, I'm gonna call it a night.
Sounds good, sir.
Appreciate it. We'll do this
fun.
again.
Yep.
Thank you.
Take care, Doug.
Take care. Have a good night.